Welcome. Today we'll be reading from The Savages of the Left. This is an article that appeared in Town Hall on March 18th, 2017 by Jeff Crouere, who is a host of a Louisiana-based program called Ringside Politics. The election of Donald Trump has caused the political left to go stark raving mad. There is very little civility among today's liberals. They were so certain that Hillary would win the presidency that they are unable to accept the reality of a Trump administration and agenda. In the Congress, there was so much anger that dozens of liberal Democrats boycotted the president's inauguration. This was an unprecedented display of partisan bitterness. From that day forward, Democrats have refused to work with the new president, instead preferring obstructionism. In the Senate, Democrats delayed confirmation votes on the president's cabinet nominees. In fact, Congressman Maxine Waters, Democrat of California, insulted the cabinet, an astounding collection of business executive and political leaders, by calling them a bunch of scumbags. How can any president work with such hateful and unhinged Democrats? Waters and several of her radical congressional colleagues are also pursuing impeachment charges against President Trump. These Democrats are not willing to engage in bipartisan cooperation or even give President Trump a chance. They are playing to the leftists in academia, the media, and special groups by opposing the president at every turn. This type of mentality has been on display at Republican town hall meetings across the country. In many cases, liberal protesters have been disrespectful and disruptive. At a town hall meeting in Metairie, Louisiana for U.S. Senator Bill Cassidy, Republican, protesters were so deranged that they booed the opening prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. The meeting went downhill from there, and instead of participating in useful dialogue, the liberals decided to yell and interrupt the proceedings. Now the verbal abuse is starting to turn into physical abuse. At college campuses, conservative speakers have been forced to cancel speeches because liberals have rioted, burned cars, and broken windows. College students trying to attend these speeches have been subject to pepper spray or been hit with bags of urine. The insanity is not confined to college campuses by any means. In the days after the election, a Trump supporter was choked and shoved by two attackers on a subway. Not surprisingly, no one on the train lifted a finger to help this innocent victim whose only crime was wearing a Make America Great Again hat. Several weeks ago, at a Spirit of America rally in Berkeley, California, Trump supporters were hit with sticks, punched, and kicked in the head. Of course, this kind of violence should be condemned by the media and liberal Democrats, but sadly the response has been to almost encourage this type of behavior. Without condemnation or vigorous prosecution, the leftist attacks will continue. The latest shocking incident occurred this week in Tiburon, California, as radio talk show host Michael Savage finished a meal and was leaving a popular Italian restaurant. He was allegedly assaulted by a fellow patron. The man, almost a foot taller than the 70-year-old Savage, allegedly yelled insults at the legendary talk show host. Eventually, as Savage tried to leave, he was knocked to the ground holding his pet poodle. When another patron tried to intervene and help Savage, the accoster punched the Good Samaritan in the face. By the time police arrived, both Savage and his nemesis had placed each other under citizen's arrest. Incredibly, Savage's attacker claimed the talk show host started the melee. Of course, such a charge is very suspicious, as Savage is much smaller and older than the enraged patron. Police did not charge either man with a crime, but the case has been deferred to the district attorney's office for review. The incident infuriated Savage, who told his attorney that this guy can't get away with that. In an interview with Breitbart News, Savage lamented that it is clearly open season on prominent Trump supporters. During the presidential campaign, Savage was a staunch supporter of Donald Trump and featured the candidate often on his program, which reaches 10 million people in the United States. His radio show, The Savage Nation, is the third most popular radio program in the United States, behind only Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity. Let's hope Savage's attacker will be prosecuted for committing an unprovoked assault. The talk show host is also going to explore his legal options and may file a lawsuit. It is time that liberals paid a price for these attacks and for conservatives to fight back against these bullies on the left. Otherwise, the open season on conservatives will continue and only get worse in the perilous days ahead. This video is a production of the School of the White Crane. My name is John Brooker, and please share this video on social media.